Hi everybody, hope you've had a nice day today. Happy Good Friday to everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late with the story today. I seemed to spend the entire day making hot cross buns, but I was quite happy with my hot cross buns in the end. And I did a bit of a drive-by to family members and left them in letterboxes and on fences and things. So I hope you've all had a good day as well. Now, today I'm going to read you this book, which is called Monster Party. And it's created by my friend Alison Lester and me and the children of Rawa Community School in Punmu, which is an Aboriginal community on the edge of the Great Sandy Desert in Western Australia. So Alison and I went there a couple of years ago and we wrote this story and made this book with the kids. And it's called Monster Party. And it's about some monsters who are living on the lake. In Punmu, the community is on the edge of a great big salt lake, and the salt lake is huge. We went walking on it. You can even drive on it. It's really beautiful. It looks like ice or even maybe sand, but it's salt. And so their little community with their little streets and their one shop and their phone box and their tree house and all the things they have in their little community is right on the edge of this huge salt lake. And the way this story came about was we were talking to the kids about the salt lake, and one of them said to us, you know, there's monsters that live on that salt lake. And we thought, let's make a story about those monsters. And that's how this story came about. So I'll read it to you now. Monster Party by the children from Rawa and with Alison Lester and Jane Godwin. Monster Party. Look at that monster. It's got 4 eyes. Monsters come out of the ground tonight. Jeepers creepers, they give us a fright. Look at that crazy monster. We made these pictures with stencils. Monsters have a party at Dora Lake. They're eating chips and monster cake. Dora Lake was the name of the big salt lake that I mentioned before. They make their own band with drums and a bass and then go galumphing all over the place. There's a happy smiling monster, one that's like a mouse, and a complicated monster that looks like Yapu's house. Yapu was the kids' teacher and they thought this monster looked like her house. There's a monster with 9 googly eyes, another who can hop, and a monster who steals all the food from the shop. At Rawa Community, when I'm reading this book in schools in Melbourne or in Sydney, I often say, how many shops do you think are in your city or your town? And in Rawa Community, in Punmu, there is only one shop, just one shop. There's a monster who prowls, it sulks and it growls, and a monster who sits in our treehouse and howls. The kids at Punmu had a beautiful treehouse down by the water in their community. There's a slobbering monster, a monster in socks, and now a big fat one has squashed the phone box. They didn't have very good reception in Punmu, and they had a phone box, an old-fashioned phone box that your mum and dad might be able to remember. Stomp, stamp, wriggle, crunch, crash, boom, bop. They dance all night till the sun comes up. The monsters all come to school the next day. They brush their teeth and they want to stay. We say to the monsters, you can't come here. We've got work to do, and we make that clear. That monster looks a bit sad that it can't stay at school, doesn't it? Back you go under the ground. So off they creep without a sound. Off they're going back under the ground. Now we never see those monsters around, but sometimes we hear them deep underground. Howl, grrr, ow. And you can see all the monsters down there, deep underground. Goodbye, monsters. And that's the end of Monster Party. While you're at home in isolation, you might like to try and do some stencils It's not hard to do. You just cut out a shape, and then we used a sponge with these, and you cut out the shape and put it on another piece of paper, and then dab a sponge on the paint, and then you put it on the shape, and then you lift up the piece you've cut out, and you've got a stencil. So all of the monster pictures we did with the kids with stencils, and with their googly eyes we stuck on little dots, little black dots. So that's how we made the pictures in this book. And it was lots of fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed Monster Party. Tomorrow I'll be reading you, actually it's another favourite of mine because it's the first book that I made with my good friend Anna Walker, and it's called Little Cat and the Big Red Bus. So I'll read you that one tomorrow. So stay well, stay safe, stay home. Hope you're enjoying the Easter weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Okay, bye everybody.